behold, he came in with and on the clouds. Let us go to our first, our main text for this point is Revelation 1:7. John writing here in the vision of the revelation, he says, behold, he, that is Christ, is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all the tribes of the earth will wail on account of him. Even so, amen. Now, those of you who have been following me for some time would know the first thing what I'm going to say here is that anytime you're reading from the book of Revelation, always remember the time context, which is given in Revelation 1, the same chapter here, verses 1 to 3. It says, the things therein, in that vision, must soon take place. They would take place in John's time. All right? And verse 3 says that all those things that are written in the vision, the time was near for them to happen, to come to pass, to be fulfilled. All right? So when we go back to Revelation 1:7 and we put in the counsel that God gave at the very first the very first verses of the very first chapter, we should read verse 7 like this. Behold, he is coming with the clouds in John's time, and every eye will see him in John's time. Even those who had pierced him in John's time, and all the tribes of the earth in John's time will wail on account of him. Even so, amen. That would be the correct way of understanding everything that was written in the vision of the revelation. All right? So let us move on now to the aspect of Christ coming with the clouds. All right? Now, because we are so literal minded, many of us, we are looking at coming with the clouds or in the clouds or on the clouds as atmospheric clouds, as the clouds in the sky. But we should know by now, especially when we're reading the book of Revelation, and especially when we have been exposed to the teachings of Christ, as Christ said in John chapter 16, he says, all things I have taught in parables. He says everything in Mark chapter 4, he says all things pertaining to the kingdom are done in parables. Right? So coming in the clouds, with the clouds or on the clouds, that is a parable. It's a symbolic statement. It has a spiritual meaning. All right? So what does that mean? Coming with the clouds, historically in the scriptures, in the Old Testament scriptures, coming in clouds meant coming in judgment. That's what it meant. Coming in judgment. And so when Christ talked about the same coming in Matthew chapter 16, listen to how the judgment aspect came out clearly. So we're going to go to Matthew chapter 16. Matthew chapter 16. By the way, this is like an overview I'm giving here. I have some studies which go into a little bit more depth. But anyway, look at what Jesus said. For the Son of Man is going to come. Okay? That same thing what Revelation 1:7 says, yes? Behold, he is coming. Okay? And Jesus says he's going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father. Okay? In the glory of his Father. And then, at that coming, with the angels and in the glory of his Father, he will repay. So this is a judgment coming. Right? He will repay each person according to what he has done. Remember now the context is in John's time. Now we're going to see in the next verse exactly that. Look at what Jesus says. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here. Now, John, being one of the 12 disciples, would have been one of those standing there. All right? So, Truly, Jesus said, I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. So John was one who was standing there. So the coming of Christ in his kingdom and the coming of Christ in which he will repay each person according to what he has done would have happened, or at least Christ prophesied it there to happen in John's time, because John was one who was standing there. And he says there are some who are standing there who would not taste that. And so in Revelation chapter 1, we see exactly that. John was told that the things would come to pass in his time. So he was still alive at the time when he received the vision, and he would still be alive when those things came to pass. Good? So we are not talking about events which are future to us. We are talking about things which happened in the past, 2,000 years ago in John's time. That's what you are reading in the book of Revelation. If you read the scriptures as we are reading them, and you put away your bias towards your denominational teaching and come and sit at the feet of Christ and actually listen to what he says and what he was saying, like me, you'll realize that there is no other way to understand this but that Christ intended and did come in the time of John.